so we don't have people on here till midnight. Okay, we are officially recording. So who wants to jump out there and start with a recap from last week? And again, if you weren't here before, we are doing Iron Shirt Qigong.
I got a few things.
Okay.
All right. Excuse me. My bad.
Take your time, man.
Oh, all right, here you go. Cool. All right. So some of the main things I got down from last week was the three different forms of chi,
Okay.
which is heavenly chi, earth chi, and man chi. And to expound on that, heavenly chi is anything beyond our control, like a storm or the wind, water, the currents of water. And then we got earth. The earth chi would be how the world reacts to heavenly chi. So a rock slide after a strong earthquake, or that's the best one I could think of. And then we got man chi, which is our natal power. So anything that comes from within inside. So our like our breath and blood. Yeah, that's
Okay, that's good stuff. Good
cool.
stuff. Anybody else wanna add on?
Yeah, we talked about the origination of chi and like how it first came about, like how first it was like no fire, and then it was like air, rice, and like how it's like breathing in and eating food, and then it like turned to balance. And we talked about like the power in language and speech, and then we did the definition of kung or gong and like how we put it together, and the practice of increasing chi pressure like in the body and stuff like that. So like that's basically what it came from. And then we like broke that down, of course. And the purpose was to promote self-healing through chi pressure.
Okay. So can anybody define chi for us?
Chi was defined last week as the subtle force of earth, nature, and the universe.
Okay. And since you Hero, you were the one who brought this up or looked up the definition. Can you recap that and add the definition of subtle in there, which I thought was extremely powerful?
Yeah, the definition of subtle was that
Take your time.
difficult to be perceived, and it takes time, and it's something that's pervasive. It's like everywhere, like they said in the movie Star Wars. They talked about the Force being everywhere, in everything, and of everything. And the subtle part is how can you get in touch with it? How can you build a connection with it when it's something that's difficult to see, touch, taste, or hear with your gross senses? It's something that you have to sense with your finer senses. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, no, that's perfect. What about Kung or Gong? If we're talking about Qigong, so can someone define that for us?
We said it was discipline, I believe. Yeah, it was like discipline, skill, training or study, or to gather.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. So it becomes any training or studying dealing with chi or energy, which takes takes a long time and a lot of effort to develop. So it connects directly back to how Hero defines subtle. You know, it's so subtle. It's you know, we have to find out how to develop a relationship with it. You know, and it's a worthwhile study, a worthwhile venture. Just to give everybody a heads up, since I lectured primarily last time, this week, we're going to cover a lot of the same material, but not just in lecture, not just in idea or abstract. We're going to talk about it again and hopefully add a little more depth to it, but we're going to do a couple of the practices. And then we're going to go into the microcosmic orbit. And then next week, we'll actually do some embracing the tree and talk about the structure in Iron Shirt. But this week, again, we've just going recapping a lot of that material, doing the practices and getting into the orbit. So we're gonna bring it from abstract and make it real. That's the plan and the goal. Okay, again, anybody else have anything? Now we're gonna go ahead and get rolling.
Cedric, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you give me the number to this meeting? Because I want to put it on the on my bigger on a bigger screen so I can see.
I'll drop it in our chat. Will that work?
Yeah, that'll work fine.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, it's in there.
Okay.
Okay. So again, we talked about Qi, we talked about Qigong, and we put that together. Then we went and talked about, it's a study and a practice about promoting balance and homeostasis. And the exercises of Qigong, similar to Tai Chi, promote homeostasis. Those exercises include meditation, massage, and things that stimulate that energy, that Qi flow. And a big part, because we're coming from Mantak Chia's book, a big part of what he talked about is that Qi pressure and how important that pressure is to that Qi flow or to build up that Qi. And we talked about how it circulates through the body, through the 12 meridians. Something I didn't mention that we're going to deal with today are primary. The meridians are kind of secondary. So what primary to the meridians are what they call the 8 vessels. And we're dealing with 2 of them today. So the 8 vessels break down to the 12 meridians, which break down to 1,000 minor meridians or submeridians throughout the whole body. And the importance of breath. No one mentioned that, the importance of the breath in that process. And the last thing from the recap is the goal of the Iron Shirt, as you know, again, coming from Mantak Chia. And I'm gonna read his excerpt, because again, I think it's very powerful. The goal of the Universal Tao System, which is, you know, his organization, is to keep our bodies in good condition on the physical plane in order to build and store Qi energy for the use at the higher level of the spiritual plane. Again, your body has to be in a certain condition in order to store and handle that energy that you're building up for use at a higher plane on the spiritual plane. And the aim of the human spirit in the spiritual plane is to develop what he's calling the immortal fetus. This is accomplished in 2 stages. The first stage is concerned with overcoming reincarnation. So getting out of that loop. The prevailing wisdom on reincarnation is when you come here like a school, if you don't level up to a certain level, you have to come back. Even if you're graduating from 1st grade to 2nd grade to 3rd grade, you still have to come back. At some point, you should graduate out of this physical 3D, 4D incarnation and break that cycle of reincarnation. In the process, not developing karma that you need to complete. And again, you will have to come back to complete the karma again and break out of that cycle. The second and final stage concerns educating the immortal fetus towards becoming a full-grown immortal fetus. And he doesn't elaborate on what that means, but my imagination is going into when you graduate out of this plane of existence, you go into another plane where you continue to develop. And again, to just elaborate again, what we spoke about is we are whole and complete beings. We are not only mind. We are not just mind. We're not just body. We're not just spirit. We're all of that. And if one of those components is not functioning optimally, then it's a drain or energy sink on the other two areas or other one area, whatever the case may be. Any thoughts on that? Any questions? That's a real quick recap. Okay, I will consider that.
Instructor,
Yes.
can you repeat what you said about educating immortal fetus, please?
Yep. That second paragraph reads, the aim of the human spirit in the spiritual plane is to develop the immortal fetus. This is accomplished in two stages. The first stage is concerned with overcoming reincarnation, and the second and final stage concerns educating the immortal fetus towards becoming a full-grown immortal spirit. So from a fetus to a full-grown immortal spirit.
Thanks for that.
So I got a question. In that we're going from the stage of immortal fetus to a full-grown immortal spirit through our physical life?
No, through the spirit life. The immortal fetus is what graduates out of the reincarnation cycle. That's what's so amazing to me about it. You're still a fetus when you come out of this reincarnation cycle. I mean, according to his description here.
Okay, so it's like, all right, so when we come out of the reincarnation cycle, we reincarnated as an immortal fetus.
I'm gonna say no. The vehicle you ride around in called Terrence is not who you really are. There's something driving that vehicle. And that's that immortal spirit.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So that's the immortal spirit. That's what we're cultivating.
All right.
And all this work we're doing and all this development we're doing, we're cultivating that spirit. And in that cultivation, and we think we all like, enlightened, we've reached nirvana. We break the reincarnation cycle and we graduate out of this. And then to realize in a big cosmic view of everything, we fetuses. We're not even babies yet. We a fetus. I don't know if nobody feeling that. We a fetus. We're not even a baby yet. We haven't even been birthed yet.
Levels to it.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely some levels to it. Again, I thought that was really deep. One other point we spoke about that's extremely important is structure. The structure of the body. Can somebody speak to that to me? Speak to that for me. The structure of the body and how that, why does that hold significance for us? And specifically, not just merely the structure of the body, but how our posture, our structure in the form of posture affects what we do.
Peace, instructor.
Peace, family.
Is it for maximum chi flow, proper structure of the body helps to facilitate maximum chi flow? Would that be one? Okay. Absolutely.
And we also along that note, so proper chi flow. So if I'm doing this, if everybody can see this video, if I'm doing this and I'm slouching like that, it is necessarily blocking the flow of my energy. So if we're meditating or maybe sitting in a folded leg position, you know, we speak about keeping the back straight and what that alignment does for our energy flow. And the relationship to gravity. Because when our alignment is proper, we can relax. Our muscles can truly relax and facilitate further energy flow. And I liken it to directional flow for those of you who are training, who understand that concept. Directional flow, just where my muscles don't have to be active for me to have a solid structure, a solid foundation. My muscles don't have to actively be involved in that process. I can merely lean on my body structure to support whatever action I'm taking.
Instructor, you said a lot, most of the things that I would have said, but I would just maybe add on to that, just the imagery of an aligned spine and energy flowing and charging up each chakra on the way up, up through the spine, as far as what we're talking about today.
No, perfect. So we're pulling, we talk for those who know the process, and I don't think we'll speak on it today, but if you feel familiar with iron shirt and embracing the tree, the bottom of the foot has a point called the bubbling springs. And we are pulling earth energy up through the bubbling spring, and it's going up. Like B. Anthony said, we're going up, and we're going up through those chakras. And at the same time, from the crown, we're pulling universal energy down. And it's what comes to mind is the picture of the Yin Yang, the symbol of Yin Yang, because that's what's happening. Those two opposites are interplaying in our body. And how I want to say, without getting too deep, that interplay in our body through the chakras and all that is creating a field. I know North always talks about, hey, we are 99%, 99 point something percent empty space, because the atom is primarily empty space. But what gives us the physical, what we perceive as physical, is the field that all this energy that we are creates. It's like how a magnet has a magnetic field and it can move another magnet. So our energy creates a field, and with that, I can push my mouse. I can move that. My field is interacting with the field of the atoms in that mouse, and I can move it. And my imagination says, at some more enlightened space, I won't even have to move my hand to move my mouse. So again, I don't want to get off on a tangent and get too deep on that, but yeah, it's a powerful proposition, to say the least. So I want to make sure all that is underneath what we're doing before we start moving too far forward. So any thoughts? Again, I want to make sure this is underneath us. Any questions, anything, any commentary, instructors, if y'all have anything that needs to be filled in that we didn't touch sufficiently, please let me know, or let us know.
Let me see. Come on.
Got some minds blown in the chat, instructor.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, again, it's some powerful propositions going on here. So if no one has anything, we're gonna we're gonna keep it moving. And if you get something that well, we can definitely circle back. I want to make sure, again, that's why I'm taking so much time with this foundational information, so we can have a good foundation to build on. So we can move and we're not continually dealing with this in the future. Okay. So again, we went through all that. We laid the foundations of the whats and the whys, Qigong, developing Qi pressure, circulating Qi, and how it's related to the breath. So what we're going to talk about now is actually, again, this is interactive. So I want someone to walk us through abdominal breathing and the importance. So it doesn't have to just be one person. It can be several people to get the complete picture of that. And abdominal breathing, again, what we typically do or what we typically teach in the dojo.
I can go. So the process of abdominal breathing that I have is to breathe into the entire abdominal cavity, the ribs, the stomach, the side, everything. And you pull the energy from the perineum, which is the point between the genitals and the anal. And we relax our diaphragm and relax our chest. And that creates pressure. And we breathe through the abdominal because once you breathe through your chest, you are only using 1/3 of the lungs. And so that actually takes more energy breathing through the chest than it does breathing through the abdominal. And then once also breathing through the abdominal, that it energizes the, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, the fascia,
Mm-hmm.
which is used to protect our organs, our heart and our organs. And then the pressure from breathing in the abdominal cavity, it energizes the fascia, which is the layers that protect our body.
Okay, that works. Anybody else have something to add on to that?
I have, it also strengthens the organs, promotes self-healing and proper structure.
Absolutely. That's that through those breathing processes, we create that Qi pressure that does those things. Absolutely. Anyone else? Come on. I'm gonna have to go north leg on y'all and start calling some people out. Come on.
It's also known as Energizer breathing.
Yep, absolutely.
And fanning the flames.
Yep, absolutely. We're creating a fire. We're creating a fire in the Dantian area.
With
the air in and starting to fan the flames. And then we have subsequent breathing methods that build up to what we'll ultimately do, circulating that Qi. This is about building Qi and Qi pressure. Come on, family. Come on, Salama, give me something. I know you got something out there. I know you bubbling. Just the abdominal breathing. That's what we're talking about. So who else can I call on in here? Come on.
Instructor, could you repeat what it is that you're looking for regarding abdominal breathing? My signal went out for a sec.
Oh, yep, no worries. Just the process. Just the process of the abdominal, the mechanics.
Tongue to the roof of the mouth.
Okay.
Inhale through the nose. This is without the microcosmic orbit, just the basic breathing.
Yep, just breathing.
Yeah, yes, sir. On the inhale, tongue to the roof of the mouth. The navel is pushed out. And the goal is to imagine bringing the oxygen. We know the lungs don't go past the rib cage, but the idea is to envision that oxygen entering the nose and filling the lungs, going past the lungs, if you will, to the lower dantian, right below the navel, right above the pubic line. And upon exhale, you exhale through the mouth with the navel being pulled to the spine to fully expel all the carbon dioxide.
Okay. Yep.
Brainiac.
Come on, what you got to add on to that? I know you have something to add on to there, Infinite.
Yeah. I think he did it. I think he did a great job.
It's more that can be added on.
Yeah, Infinite.
There you go. See, there you go. Well, I would say the same thing you said, but if you're going to the chi path.
So I don't want to get to the chi path just yet.
Okay.
Just the mechanics of the breathing and the whys. Why is it important? Why do we care?
I would say the why you care is because if you breathing in the chest and not going to the dantian when you're doing floor practice or kumite, your movement is going to be static. It's going to be choked. Your power going to be choked if you're not bringing the breath past the chest down to the dantian.
Okay.
Did anybody
You gotta say
say
about that, Instructor Cedric. I see that look in your face you give me all the time on the floor.
did anybody say expanding the abdomen on all sides?
Yep, Kim mentioned that. So yeah, expanding the abdomen is so key. So key. And putting everyone's commentary together, breathing in deeply. So we moving past the chest. We are not inflating the top 1/3 of the lungs. When you see your chest rise and fall, that's only the top 1/3 of the lung. So we got 2/3 of the lungs that comes all the way down to the bottom of the rib cage. And when we push on that diaphragm, boy, let me see. Okay. Let me see if I can share my screen. Yeah, perfect.
Instructor said while you are sharing your screen, I thought it was interesting that this theory came from the womb, that this breathing technique came from
nice
in the womb, and the umbilical cord being connected to the navel. That is how energy, food, and oxygen is getting to the baby, which is in essence protecting the baby while in the womb, which is why we replicate that practice as a living being outside of the womb. So I knew that you wanted more context to the mechanics while in this space, but I thought that was interesting. So I just wanted to add that commentary.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Was we didn't mention that from last time. That was some things we talked about last time. So that's perfect. We got that science from watching babies, watching newborns, and I don't know how, but understanding what's going on in the womb. So can everyone see that on my screen?
Yes, instructor.
Okay, so it's a picture, and if you see that dark line right in the middle, when I'm moving my mouse, is the diaphragm on both of these pictures here. So just to get a good visual, the bottom of the ribs and how large the lungs are. They're coming all the way down. So when we inhale, we pushing down our lungs, a full lung pushes on that diaphragm. And actually that diaphragm helps inflate the lungs. I know another thing we talked about in that regard is that this process making breathing way more efficient. So when we're using the abdomen and the diaphragm to inhale to expand our rib cage, it creates a vacuum in the lungs, sucking air in. So we don't have to pull air in ourselves. We just have to inflate our abdomen, and it sucks in the air making this process more efficient. Another thing that came up last week was when you're in your chest, you have an energy deficit. It takes more energy to breathe into your chest than we create from that breathing process. Again, not to do too much recap, but we have to explode these points and understand the mechanics of this, where we're going, because this is all about practice. This is all about putting this information to practice.
Instructor,
Yes.
it's one of the simplest ways I might communicate it to, in layman's terms, is that just like most of us are chronically dehydrated, most of us are chronically under oxygenated.
Nice.
And that leads to all types of health impacts, all types of physical ailments and things of that nature. It's not just, you know, they're not as immediate, they're very subtle.
Oh yeah.
They build up over time. So this is as far as the why goes, you know, there's the access to power from the breath. There's also, you know, just the body that runs on oxygen, and, you know, going from 33% using just your upper part of your lungs to breathing in the full capacity that the body can do, gives you more access to the oxygen and therefore the power.
Absolutely. This bioelectric machine we call the body, when we're breathing in and creating that and getting that electrical system moving. So if we're deficient, it's like running a machine that requires 10 volts, but you're running it on 6. Slowly, the components will start to fall apart. They will begin to start wearing out because they're not functioning on the voltage or the power that it was designed to run on. So it's pulling that energy and that power from somewhere else to function, and that's what happens in our bodies. So with that being said, I don't want to belabor this point. Let's keep going. So we're talking about the abdominal breathing. So I'm not gonna go ahead. You have something?
No, it's me. I was just, you called me and then my line went out.
Okay.
I didn't hear your question.
Yep. No, I was just asking people to talk about the mechanics and the whys of the abdominal breathing that we do.
Aha. Ooh, okay. The how and the why. Well, it definitely gives us energy, and it's our first food. It's our first nutrition or nurturing is from the abdominal breathing. As babies in the womb, we start off breathing from the abdominal, because we can't obviously breathe from anywhere else, but it's the abdominal. So there's that, as well as I don't know. I mean, just guessing, I would say that in the abdominal, for one thing, you know, there's more spaces out of all the spaces to breathe into, from, you know, your chest to your abdominal, that's the most you can get in. So it makes sense that you're getting more power.
Yep. Yep. We got to pull in that chi. That chi we get from the air. We got to pull it in. So again, thinking about, this is the iron shirt process. So that's what we're working towards. So for one, the process is abdominal breathing. Learn to breathe correctly in your abdominal so we can start creating chi efficiently. Not a chi deficit, but a chi surplus. And now from there, once we graduate and we understand abdominal breathing, first of all, let me ask, does anyone not understand abdominal breathing before I go on? Very important, and we can break down the mechanics of this further. So please don't be shy if you're not clear.
Instructor,
Yes.
let me add, you asked also at the top, why is it so important for the physical body to be healthy as it relates to the immortal fetus?
Yes.
So what I'm getting is in the in poor health, just as we were describing how in the physical life, the fetus depends heavily upon the mother
Nice.
to feed it, to sustain its life. So if the mother is a healthy mother through prenatal care and the like, the baby is healthy. However, if the mother is a crackhead, right? You got crack going through the umbilical cord, i.e. crack baby, right? It retards the growth of the immortal fetus, and it can lead to possible self-abortion. And that's how you start over.
Wow.
You abort yourself due to poor eating practices and that you go through living on this carnal existence. So you feed the carnal flesh and forego your mental and spiritual development.
Boy.
And you risk aborting the immortal fetus. That's what's coming through for me, bro.
Hey, boy, mic drop. That's a mic drop right there. For real. And I love that Instructor Vaughn added that in there, because again, that's the far-reaching, that's the point. That's why we put in the work to develop that internal spirit. Even when we work on the physical, that's what it's about. It's not just so we can look good with our rock hard abs and the six pack and all that. Okay, so let's keep it moving. Again, I was asking the question before we move from abdominal breathing. I want to make sure everyone has that mechanic down, or at least a concept of what the mechanic is. Because coming right after abdominal is what we call reverse breathing. And reverse.
So what's abdominal breathing?
Okay, who asked the question?
Kemet.
Kemet. Okay, abdominal breathing is just what it describes. When we breathe in, we are bypassing our chest so that we can inflate the entire lung. You know, and then and as a byproduct, our abdomen or our stomach protrudes. Right there. So as we inhale, that stomach protrudes. We're expanding our whole rib cage.
Yeah. Instructor, quick question.
There we go. Bear with me 1 second. I just had to mute someone real quick. Hold that question though. I just want to get through this this mechanic. So we're expanding our whole rib cage, pulling air into our lungs and filling the whole abdominal area. So we can fully oxygenate our bodies. So I want to keep it simple right there, because we're gonna deal with the rest of it in the next part when we talk about reverse breathing. Someone else had a question?
Quick question, Instructor.
Okay, you can go ahead.
On the inhale, that is to the maximum, right? the abdominal should expand to a point of where you physically can't take anymore, right?
That is a phenomenal question. No, we are not maxing that out. So I want everybody to do that real quick. Inhale abdominally and max out your capacity. What do you think? Max it out, pull it all the way in. The issue with that, Theo, is that it creates tension when you max out that capacity.
Okay.
We're pulling it in deep and you have a noticeable expansion of your rib cage. And all this is happening in there, but we are not maxing it out, pulling it to like the nth degree where it's, now I got all this tension in my abdomen and in my chest and all that. We don't want to create that tension. We want to create relax. We want to still be relaxed and have our muscles relaxed in that process so we can have proper energy flow. We want that chi flowing, and tension impedes the flow of chi.
Body instructor.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. May I? I just
Oh,
wanted
absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead.
to share a quick piece. Harmonizing the breath with abdominal breathing is about much more than simply improving the efficiency and effectiveness of absorbing oxygen and nitrogen from the air. Sends the strain on the heart and improves blood circulation throughout the body, in effect, creating a second heart. It also opens the lower, most unused area of the lungs, the largest part of the lungs, in fact, improving their effectiveness. I just thought that was an interesting piece to share.
Absolutely.
Mechanics. Thank you, brother.
Yes, yes, thank you. Did everyone get that? I know we talked about that last week. It essentially becomes a second heart because it takes all that strain and pressure off the heart, so the heart doesn't have to work as hard. If we create that vacuum with our abdomen sucking in air, it's doing the job of the heart. Again, that's what happens when the fetus is in the mother's womb. There's no oxygen really to breathe. So in that respiration, it's creating that vacuum into through the umbilical.
I think that's interesting that, the second heart concept, even on a metaphysical level, is interesting. The breathing, proper management or syncopation of the breathing, via abdominal breathing, kind of, I would say, locks us into feel quicker. We get locked into that sense, that one sense of feel. When we're not breathing erratically, you sink into it damn near naturally.
Oh yeah.
Or based on what Instructor Gosel just offered, that's what it made me think of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, that's abdominal breathing and the benefits. So now we're taking that a step further. Now we're going to talk about reverse breathing. And I want everyone to do this one. So after we talk about it really quickly, reverse breathing is just, I almost said just the opposite, but not exactly. It is, and I have a diagram of that. It is the inhalation through the nose the same way, but instead of expanding the abdomen, we're creating chi pressure by reversing that process. So on the inhale, instead of expanding the abdomen, we contract the abdomen. And we're pulling up the perineum, and we're moving we're bypassing the chest, what it feels like to me, hollowing the chest. So bypassing it and pushing the diaphragm down. So we are creating chi pressure with the reverse breathing. So again, inhaling, but instead of expanding the abdomen, contracting the abdomen, we're pulling our stomach in. We want to flatten the stomach out. And we have to When I do that, I feel pressure in my perineum. So I have to pull that up to prevent leakage, moving my diaphragm down and my stomach in on the inhale. And it's a different sensation. Now, some caveats, some things that in the preparation for this, and hey, I'm practicing these breathing techniques, and I had an epiphany when I would do this. Our next breathing is called packing. When I would do that type of chi pressure breathing, it would make my head hurt. I would feel a lot of pressure in my head, and sometimes I get headaches. I was doing it incorrectly. So going through these steps is again, going back to the fundamentals and the basics are so powerful. So now when I relax my chest, we're not creating tension, I don't get that pressure coming up. I bypass it. All my pressure stays in my abdomen. And now I'm creating chi pressure around my organs. Again, we talked about this last week, creating all that chi pressure, creating bioelectricity, because again, our abdomen acts like a battery. And now the next step of that reverse breathing. So when we're doing it and we take, I'm gonna throw a number out there, 9 breaths with the reverse breathing, creating that chi pressure. Now we move that chi pressure to our dantian. Now the caveat to this is when we think of the dantian, we think of it a couple inches below our navel on the surface, but the reality is it is in the center of our bodies. So we're taking that chi pressure that we just created, or that chi that we just created from our breathing, and moving it there so we can use it. So again, we're going to go over that breathing. I want to have everyone do it. We're going to talk about it again and make sure everyone has it. We're going to have everyone do it, and then we're going to get some commentary from you all on what you experience, what you feel. What are your thoughts? What are your questions?
Instructor.
Yes.
Okay, so I attempted to do it. So can you explain how to do that without expanding the chest?
Just like abdominal breathing, we're just bypassing the chest. It's just a relaxation up here. From that rib cage up, relaxation. And again, it takes practice. It takes practice, just like when you first learn abdominal breathing, it's a mental process. So creating that pressure. We pulling in on all sides, flatten the stomach, bringing in the sides. Obviously the back is not going anywhere. So we create that pressure here, flatten the stomach, pulling up on the perineum. And when you relax the chest, it relaxes the diaphragm down. So when I pull that air in, I'm creating that chi pressure coming down. And I'll get a slight hold, and then I can exhale. And for me, it's still a thought process. I have to think about it to do it in reverse from what I do on the daily. My daily natural breath now is the abdominal breathing. So I have to engage my mind to do it in reverse.
Instructor, is there a time in our breathing practices that we should practice this? Is it that we get the abdominal breathing down first and then move into this, or is it, it's kind of free for all? You do it at your however you feel like doing it.
I did not note from Montauk Chia, I did not note the number, but he says when you're doing iron shirt or embracing the tree or the microcosmic orbit, you go through that process. First, you do abdominal breathing for a number of breaths. Then you move into reverse breathing for a number of breaths. Again, we're building up chi. We're stair-stepping up. We don't just go to the top. We step it up slowly. And then we go to what we'll talk about next, which is packing breathing. And once we pack, and again, and download all that chi we created into our dantian, now we can work with the microcosmic orbit. We take all that energy we created and circulate it through our body. Circulate through our body, and we'll get into the meridians, the 2 meridians that we're talking about today.
Overstood. Thank you.
We talked about them last week as well, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
I got that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I got the answer. In the book.
Anyone else? You sound extremely far away. I can hear something, but I don't hear what you're saying.
How about now?
It's a little bit louder. I can't even tell who that is. It's not even registering on Zoom that someone is talking. So,
all right, give me 1 second.
And if you need to, just drop it in the chat as well.
While you figure that out, I don't have commentary, but I do have a question.
Okay.
In both breathing techniques, is it pranayama?
Yep.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm doing this properly. I have done no research and then asked. I heard nobody else ask, like, how are you pulling from the pranayama? The way that it feels while I'm even playing in that area is like, I don't too graphic, but that first release of the day when you wake up and you have that first urination, and you kind of stop it and things like that. As a man, you would understand. And is that the mechanism that you are doing? And if so, are you doing that in harmony with the inhale, or what? Like how does that work? It's a little bit uncomfortable if I'm doing it in the right thought, but because I've never done it before, it is a little uncomfortable. But I have no idea if I'm even doing it properly. But I've been focusing on that word since it got brought up last week.
Okay. No, that's absolutely correct. Rafa is just pulling from there. And again, the mechanic is just like that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yep. Give me 1 second, T. I want to make sure Rafa understood. Did you get that?
I did get that, yes.
Yep. So you're exactly right to your point.
So how do you explain that for women?
I have no idea, honestly.
Instructor, I
Okay.
think
So from what I understand, it's like a Qigong. Yeah. So if that translates for the ladies on the call.
My question was like, I heard you speak about doing it, but not too much stress. Like how would you describe how tight or how loose or just like a comfortable squeeze? Or sometimes I'll be in between variations of it's really tight or it's loose, and I might get lost in
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a practice. So you do not want to create tension, but you want to contract that muscle, contract it without creating tension. So I guess if I make a fist and I make a solid fist, but I don't have to make it like, just squeezing it all super tight and creating tension. I just close my fist. So I'm pulling my perineum up now and just in tension, just a flex of the muscle, because I don't want to lose energy. That's a leakage zone potentially, to leak energy out. And we don't want to do that. So we want to get a little flex of that muscle. So you have a question, T? I think everybody is good with that.
I was just answering Paul's question. He said, how many times where we should we have done that, the different breathing exercises in between each session. And in the book, it said the abdominal breathing for when you first start should be done 9 times. Should be done in 9 times, and then you stop and go back to the original. And then it said packing should be done 3 times a day until for like the first week, and then you gradually increase that from 3 to 6 all the way up to 36.
Yep, that's 3 breaths, correct? I remember reading that.
3 cycles of packing altogether.
Yeah. So yeah. So when we get into packing, we'll explode that a little bit, because yeah.
But yeah, it seemed like the pattern is building on everything from the first week and set numbers of 3s.
Okay.
Depending
I appreciate
on how
that.
stressful it is.
No, that's perfect. I'm glad you wouldn't pull that out of the book for us. up to 36. Okay, so that's reverse breathing. So now I want everybody to do that. Everybody to take 2 minutes, do some reverse breathing here, and let's powwow at 9 o'clock on the nose to see what we come up with. So go ahead, do your thing. Okay, it is 2 minutes. What does everyone have? And for now, I'm gonna show this diagram I have of the reverse breathing on what's going on in there.
I find it, this is infinite.
Yep.
I find it hard to pull up my perineal gland and relax my diaphragm down at the same time.
Okay, okay. Again, like I mentioned to someone else, it's a practice. So it's about learning to use those muscles.
This Terrence, I was in doing it, I felt a lot more pressure in the middle of my back. And it also made me burp. And it also made me feel like a lot of stuff was coming up. It felt like a lot of stuff was coming up. And in the first minute, it was kind of hard to continue breathing and reverse breathing. And then after a while, it got a lot easier because everything started like going back down. But in the beginning, it felt like it felt like I was forcing out a lot of unnecessary air.
Okay, okay.
This is Javion. I'd say I felt a lot of tension in my body. I know in the beginning I used a lot of thought, just working on pulling from the perineum at the same time with the diaphragm. It felt like my whole body was kind of tensing up. I don't know if that's normal or correct at all.
Yeah. Anyone else? Talk about your experience.
Yeah, like the whole head, like it felt like for a minute my head was like filling with like sinus pressure for a minute. Like it just felt with pressure, and then when I let it go, like when I was breathing out, it felt better. But like for a while, like it just was like a lot of pressure in the back of my head,
Mm-hmm.
and in my forehead area.
I would definitely agree. I definitely was struggling with the with, you know, the, what is it? I guess the simultaneity of keeping, you know, the perineum and the breathing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And again, that was my experience as well, working with this. When I have tension in my chest and anything above my diaphragm, that energy comes to my head and I feel pressure. So it's forcing me to relax all of my chest and my diaphragm while I squeeze my abdomen in on that inhale. So I'm inhaling here, inhaling air into a squeezed abdomen and pulling up, and all this pressure is being created. And if I let it come up here, it makes it to my head and I feel that pressure. Like you say, sinus. And even in this practice, I did it incorrectly once or twice. I started sweating immediately, got hot, started sweating. So yeah, it's a practice. It is a practice. Because we do it the other way, we have to train our mechanic.
So in these breathing exercises, the goal is sweating isn't necessarily a good thing.
No, it's not good or bad. If you sweat, that's fine, because you are generating chi. So it's very possible that you will sweat. It's just I wasn't sweating until I did it incorrectly. When that energy shot to my head, I immediately I felt my pores pop open.
I do want to acknowledge the difference in posture, how I've been traditionally accustomed to sitting slouched. I did attempt to breathe slouched, and it caused my chest to move out. Whereas when I had posture, where I was, you know, sitting upright and straight, I didn't have that issue. But I still had the complications that everybody else had, as far as synergizing several mechanics and things like that. But I am sitting upright, and at the bare minimum, I am not moving my chest while I'm doing the breathing.
Okay.
I was gonna just chime in and say, yeah, this is definitely interesting. This kind of feel a little weird because it sort of broke something that I'm almost like mechanically trained to do in terms of you know, abdominal breathing while expanding the diaphragm outward and inhaling, you know. So it was also interesting to, once the air, the oxygen came in, as I'm inhaling, once I exhaled, my abdominal further contracted, which I didn't expect. And I don't know if that's correct or not. Is that correct? Like when the air exhales, the abdominal further like comes even more so inward. Is that appropriate or no, or what? Where does that air supposed to go? Like, what's supposed to happen when you're exhaling? Like,
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
No, great question. So when we're inhaling, we're squeezing in our abdomen.
Yeah.
When we exhale, we release some of that. The thing you don't want to do is get deflated. So we're creating chi pressure. So you don't want to go, and then everything is gone. So just opposite of Theo's question, when he asked, do we pull it in, like pull it into, we can't pull in anymore. On the opposite end of that, we don't release it until we lose everything. But we do not want tension. That makes sense.
It does. I'm gonna try that on my next process, my next go at it.
Okay. And again, that's just because I was practicing this while I was preparing for this presentation. I'm like going through these things, and those are some of the things I was dealing with. On my reverse breathing, when I exhale and move my abdomen back out, I was losing all my pressure. And it's like all my chi that I built up disappeared. So to your question, moving that chi now. Now that you have chi, and we need to move it. And I just say for this, it's a process. So just let it circulate. Let it circulate, because the reverse breathing is not the end goal. It's a step in the process. So when we get to the packing, then you're gonna feel that chi like for real, and then we start manipulating and moving it around. All right.
Awesome. That's about to be sweet.
Okay. All y'all over there levitating yet? For the next process. So now that we have the reverse breathing.
Instructor.
Yes.
If I may.
Absolutely.
First, again, thank you for bringing this back to the table. It's been a while, good long while since I engaged in the reverse breathing. So it definitely requires some intention of thought based upon the habits we built with abdominal breathing. But in revisiting it, it surged energy. I could feel the energy shoot all through my arms. You definitely get that back feel of pressure that can go into the head. But it was really invigorating for me. Like I said, just in revisiting it such a long time, it is definitely a different but yet powerful reconnection with the chi. And so again, I personally felt it surge up through the upper body, down into my arms, and it did take some level of intention to keep from being lightheaded, because it definitely shot some lightheaded, energy up there that, if not controlled, it could put you down. So, but yeah, I just wanted to say that this is a great reminder of some things that have been dealt with and I've been away from too long. So much appreciated.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna move into your thing. When I was going through this, I was thinking about you with the packing breathing. So yeah, we're gonna move into that, and I'm gonna share my screen again for the packing process. Okay, now we're taking it another step further. We got the abdominal, then the reverse. Now we're looking at packing. So what is packing? And it's just like what it implies, the word packing implies. We're breathing in the reverse breathing now, but instead of exhaling, we're going to inhale more and compress more and create more chi pressure. And then instead of exhaling, we're going to pull in more and keep compressing it and keep pushing it and packing it down, packing all that. And our pressure is really building, and we are creating chi.
Instructor, can you go over the inhale and exhale one more time?
With the packing or the reverse?
The packing.
Okay, yep. It's so I'm gonna talk about the reverse because it's the same process. When we inhaling, we squeezing in our abdomen, pulling in our perineum, and letting our diaphragm relax down. So we're pulling in, he talks about 10%. So 10% of your lung capacity. It's a nice, easy breath. Pack it down and pull in 10% more. Pack it down. And my focus, again, just for me, is relaxing my chest. Relaxing my chest and relaxing that diaphragm down, creating more pressure. Again, when I tense up my chest, that pressure comes to my head, and it is not a good feeling. So again, 10% more. 10% more. Packing it down, moving it down, creating that pressure. Packing it down, moving it down, creating more pressure. And I just had a notion that I need to pull in my abdomen more. I'll let it hang out too much. And then necessarily, increases my posture. I have to get more upright to pull in more, packing it down, pulling it in, packing it 10% more until you can't take it anymore. And when you can't take it anymore, you let out, I'm going to say 0.5% of that air. Just a little bit, little tiny exhale. Then you pull in 10% more. Then you pull in 10% more. And you keep packing it. And I find myself relaxing my abdomen a little too much. And I'm pulling in more, packing it more. And my abs are starting to feel like I'm doing sit-ups or something. Packing it more until I can't take any more. And then I relax. And we're going to call that one cycle. So when T mentioned, when he looked up in the book, that he recommends, Mantak Chia recommends in the beginning, maybe the first week or so of practicing this, 3 cycles. So that's what he means, 3 cycles of just packing. You can't take any more. Exhale a fraction of that air and pull in 10% for 3, 4, 5 more breaths. Packing it in.
So
before you relax that process.
So is it not good to hold it in for as long as you can?
Oh, it's absolutely good to hold it in. So I'm saying hold it in and then hold it in some more. Go beyond that point. If that makes sense.
Instructor, did you say once you can't take it anymore, you said release? I want to say you said 0.5%, but
yeah.
Okay.
I made up that number, but I just want you to say, release a tiny bit of air. So it's awesome. It's basically like breathing now. So you pulling it in, you're not really breathing. You're just inhaling, packing till you can't take it. And I let a fraction of that air out so I can pull in a lot more. And I pull in a lot more and I pack it and I pack it. Oh, and what I neglected to say is now I got all this chi pressure built up in that energy. Now I want to move it to my dantian. So now with this process, well, before I move on, I don't want to move on if everyone doesn't understand this so far. So I want to make sure if there's any more questions. Oh, so first of all, Kimmy, did you follow that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Instructor, could you please break down what the specific, like the arrows in the diagram, and we're going from top to bottom, left to right, obviously, but
okay.
The arrows on the back in the first one, and then with the diaphragm and pelvic arrows and all of that, I want to make sure I got it.
Yep, this walks through the process. So that first one is that letter A is the regular energizing abdominal breathing. So notice how the arrows is expanding the whole cavity.
Oh, that's what the arrows in the back, the circle in the back.
Yeah, okay. That's a top-down view, and it's showing the abdomen expanding.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So the next one is the reverse breathing. Looks like the next 2, B and C. And then we get the D. That's the packing breathing. D and E is the packing, and we're packing them in. Okay, so that's a good question. That wasn't very clear. So great question.
Thank you, instructor. I thought all of the diagrams were packing. I didn't know that they. I got you now. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I guess there's no questions on that.
You're looking for feedback, instructor?
Oh no, I just want to make sure that everyone understands before I move on. I don't want to move too fast and leave people behind. But if you have any commentary, absolutely add it on. So it can't do anything but help the understanding.
No, I just gonna say it is clearly escalating our connection to power. I mean, I just feel it like all through my body, and it's specifically into my arms and into my extremities. You know, in taking conscious intention on keeping it out of the head, because the head is ready to get light and pop. But once you get the ability to redirect it from the head, I just feel it going down into my forearms, my hands. I just feel that power that I can see and really intimately feel how it creates power in us without, muscle per se, and it's going to lead us into that ability to do effortless breaking and, 1-inch shattering type power purely from the breath. So that was the only piece I had. Thanks.
No, that's great. What I want to, my comment for you is that instead of allowing that energy to go into your arms and your legs or your extremities, keep it in your torso. Again, we want to move that to our dantian, which is, dantian is our energy center that stores energy, that stores that chi, so we can use it. So if we want to put it to our arm, we can do that, because we're moving towards, we haven't even gotten to the microcosmic orbit yet. So we're taking all this breathing and we're going to add it to that microcosmic orbit.
Yeah.
So we're talking about packing. So I want to talk about now the intention. So once we have the mechanic, we can take our intention and our brain somewhere else. To we want to focus that. We want to put that intention on our visualization. So where are we moving that energy? What does it look like when we're packing? So in my imagination, and I want to underscore that imagination is not like looking at a TV screen and looking at something separate from myself over there to say, okay, this is what the chi is doing. This is what that energy is doing in my body. No, I want to connect with it and really feel that energy in my imagination. I'm feeling it and I'm connecting with it in my body. And I'm seeing it cycle through. So every time I pack and I'm taking that breath and I'm packing more, I am building up energy in my dantian area, and I can see it. I'm taking that and I can see it pack. Every pack, I'm pushing it into my dantian and storing it. And I can see that ball of light getting larger and larger and larger and expanding, and I'm packing that in. So again, I can't underscore that enough, that we are packing it in and we are building something in our bodies, but it follows my intention. I want to make sure that's clear. All of these foundational things, I have to make sure they're clear. And Rafa, I just noticed your, I want to make sure you got that. I just noticed your comment in the chat. I don't know if you got it when I mentioned it, when Paul asked the question.
I didn't ask the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Paul. I saw Raft and read Rafa. So my bad. Yep. So, yep. So we're good there. Now,
Rafa said he got it mastered already.
Oh, absolutely.
False. I am trying to do it, and we're not trying. I am doing it, and I'm just waiting for the commentary or the explanation, because I have some questions for sure.
I mean, if you have some questions, let's go, because I'm transitioning past the packing after again we satisfy all the questions.
Well, it got Paul actually asked, can you break down the steps in the diagram? Because
oh yeah, yep. So I spoke to that already. So if anyone else needs me to go over that again, I will. Okay. Okay, so moving along. So once we build that chi in our dantian, that chi is connected to what we call the let me share my screen again. Two of the 8 channels. So again, stepping down, we have 8 channels in our body, which are just meridians, but they're the 8 major meridians. So we got 8 channels, and then we have the 12 major meridians after that. So let me restate that, because that was kind of confusing. We have 8 major channels that energy flows through in our body, and those 8 channels or vessels feed the 12 major meridians. So when we talk about this picture, the microcosmic orbit, you see the governor channel here and a functioning channel. Those are 2 of those 8 channels. And these are the primary 2. So
wait. Instructor.
Yes.
Just to be clear, you said we have 8 major channels, and then can you finish it so I can make sure I wrote it right?
Yep. So there's 8 channels or vessels in the body on the this is all part of the meridian system. So 8 channels separate from the meridians. So 8 channels are primary, and those 8 channels feed chi to the 12 meridians. The 12 meridians are the ones you typically see, like the heart meridian, the lung, the gallbladder, the kidneys, all these meridians, all the major 12 meridians. The 8 channels feed those. And when you see this diagram I have on the screen here, these are 2 of those major channels. And when we talk about the microcosmic orbit, we see the front channel, the functional channel, which comes through the front of the body, and we got the governing channel that comes to the back. And those 2 together make that circuit, make that microcosmic orbit when those 2 come together.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So how those 8 channels work is, once that energy from the chi we built up goes into our bodies, those 8 channels regulate that chi. So meaning so say my heart meridian is low on chi. It'll pull some chi out of these 8 channels and give it to the heart meridian. And say my gallbladder meridian has excess, I'm overproducing, it'll pull some out of there to kind of balance it out, balance that chi out in our bodies, to keep everything functioning optimally. Now, I don't want to get too deep in that. This is not a lesson on the meridians, but it directly connects to the microcosmic orbit, which is where we're going next. So now, as you can see on the screen, so we did all this breathing, and we're doing the packing breathing, and we're storing it in our dantian. And now we're circulating. Now we're taking that energy, and now we can circulate it through these primary channels for use, for whatever the body needs it for. So in this case, maybe some healing. Maybe one of our meridians is deficient. So we need to add some energy to our system for healing. And if we're in a martial capacity, maybe we need it for power in our blow. Maybe we need it for rooting. We can divert some of that energy for those processes as well. Again, I don't want to get too deep on this. I'm going to switch this up to another one, and that's what this one is talking about. So now through that orbit process, now I can take it and focus it into my palm. Is everyone still with me on this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to scroll through really quickly. Looked at these already, and just for information, these are the 12 meridians. We're looking at specifically those two, the governing and the functional channel or vessel, and it feeds this meridian system that you see on the screen now. Those are the 12 majors, and those 12 majors feed thousands of meridians going through every nook and cranny of our bodies. And they're named after the, primarily after the governing organ. Yeah. And again, we went over a lot of this last week, so I don't want to, you know, duplicate it too much. Yeah. So again, so we're going back. What is the point of the microcosmic orbit? It's about building up and storing chi in the Dantian. That's our quote unquote battery. That's how we store that chi, or, and in this case, in our bodies, bioelectric energy, bioelectricity, or that, you know, that subtle vital energy. And from there, that chi is distributed through those 8 vessels. And from there, those 8 vessels go over to the meridian system that circulates chi throughout our bodies. And for the microcosmic orbit, we focus on the 2 primary vessels, or they put it as most important.
Instructor,
yes,
say the importance one more time, just for clarity purposes.
No, I was saying it was termed as these 2 channels, the functioning and the governing channel, are the 2 most important channels out of the 8. What I want to underscore in this process as well is this, especially the governing channel, is about feeding that craniosacral pump. And we talked about that last week as well. Again, I wanted to present the information last week and get a good foundation. And now we can connect it to some practical uses when we're breathing, what's really going on now. So when we're circulating chi, again, this is visualization, but it's not visualization like looking at television. It's about visualizing this energy, seeing it, connecting with it, feeling it, going through all these points in the orbit. Again, we're going somewhere. Our next step is embracing the tree. And that craniosacral pump is taking the sacrum, which in this picture is pointing to the coccyx, the gray part of the spine at the very bottom. And what that does is it moves back and forth. It creates some pressure. It exerts some force and move that craniosacral fluid up the spine. And that energy, part of something I neglected to say, part of that energy that's stored goes into the craniosacral fluid, that craniosacral system that goes up the spine into the cranial cavity, feeds the brain and the spinal column. Again, so important. And I'm going to move to another image here that I'm sharing. If I can find it, let's see. So we talked about the sacrum, and now let's look at the cranium here. Now, what happens is these bones, you see the sutures in there. We have 3 different bones in the cranium at that from looking from the top like that, and they move and they pump fluid. And that's a part of the energy process. When we're talking about this circulating this chi, it's part of the microcosmic orbit. Anybody have any questions about this? Got one more picture I want to show. That's gracious. There it goes. One more picture I want to show about what's happening here. So we're talking about this pump here in the craniosacral process. So we know the sacrum kind of moves back and forth and pumps up. And now the cranium, as you can see, widens and narrows to pump fluid back down. And it's a very slight movement. Obviously, we don't know. We don't notice it. Okay. So I'm gonna go all the way back to the orbit here. Any questions about that? Because the next process is, again, something I neglected to mention was when we're visualizing going through this process, we want to visualize that energy hitting each and every one of these points. Because each point is an energy reservoir that feeds the system. So let me know if you have anything, because this is where I want to end. This is where I want to stop it for today. Because from here, we're going directly into embracing the tree and iron shirt. This is all the preliminary steps in building that iron shirt. And I want to underscore the breathing. None of this happens without the breathing. The power of the breath.
Instructor, can you outline some clear-cut prerequisites or assignments for us to, practice with en route to next week's class?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The breathing, wherever you are, if you understand abdominal breathing well enough, skip to the reverse breathing and the packing. But don't go to the reverse and the packing if you don't have abdominal yet. So it's about working on these breathing techniques. That's all we're doing. The abdominal, if you have that down, go to the reverse. If you have the reverse down, just work on that packing. 3 cycles is plenty, like you mentioned, like T mentioned for us. 3 cycles of that packing, but push the limits. Squeeze in there, pack it in there, and really take note of what are you feeling? What are you connecting with? Because again, this is a practice. So any questions? If not, I don't have anything, so we can
I got a question, kind of.
Okay.
So I got that the governing channel, it feeds the cranial and the sacral point. And then I got the cranial part about pumping fluids through the sutures. But I think I missed some key points with the sacral. If you could just touch on that just a little bit, so for clarity for me.
Okay. Something I don't think I explained very well is the craniosacral, how it aligns with with a microcosmic orbit. So I'm going to say that first, and then I'm going to go into answer your question directly. The meridian system, or the governing channel and the functioning channel, are the subtle systems. So if that makes sense, I don't know if that word translates. It's the subtle system that you can't see physically. The craniosacral is the part of that you can see, that's physical. Does that make sense first, Kim?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the first part of it. Now we got the sacrum, which is kind of shaped like the hand if I turn it upside down, if I can get it in the picture. And all it does is, you can see like here, if this is my sacrum, it just moves back and forth. And it moves back with your respiration. When you're breathing, especially when you're breathing deep, it'll have that motion with the respiration, and it moves, it literally pumps cerebral spinal fluid up your spine and into the cranial cavity. And when we were looking at that picture of the cranium, and you see the sutures, the head literally expands and contracts, I took a energy work class. Well, this is years ago, and we got to feel it, where you place your hands on the back of someone's head around the occiput and just hold it there. And when you're sensitive to that energy, you can feel the cranium move, and it'll come back. It has its own respiration. And what's going on, it is pumping that same spinal fluid that was pumped up, pumping it back down. And the health benefits are enormous. There's a whole study of craniosacral therapy that when your cranial bones, or even your sacral or your tailbone, is out of alignment or out of place, you have physical effects of that. And it's most often seen in babies or people who had rough labors. If you had a rough labor when you were born, and doctor had to pull you out with forceps or something like that, it'll throw your cranium out of alignment. And the craniosacral therapy moves those bones back into alignment. So it's all types of headaches, sinus issues, and etc. that go along with that. So I don't know if that answered your question directly, Kimmy. Make sure, let me know if I did not, so I can do that. That was a lot of words.
It was a lot of information, but I believe that I got the basics enough, or the major key points. So thank you, instructor.
Okay. Yeah. So again, with that being said, I don't have anything else. I think that was a lot of recap. But again, I wanted to underscore the point of, for one, working on the breathing. Make sure that's the major takeaway for today. The breathing, get that practice in, that reverse and that packing. Those are so important for a lot of things that we do going down the road. When you're talking about moving energy to your pineal, and start creating moving DMT inside your body on its own. Well, not on its own literally, but you help it. No outside, you don't have to take DMT from an outside source. It's created in your body, and you can access that. And the packing breathing is one way of doing that. That's a foundational step in that process. So that's just one place that we could go with that packing breathing. So important is my point. So if no one has anything, we're going to start checking down the list. See if you have anything, any commentary, any questions, any comments to close us out. And we're going to start with Terrence.
Peace. Today was a really good class. I was going over reverse breathing. It helped me out a lot. It cleared up a few things that I had, a few questions I had on it. I'm gonna be able to work on it going forward into next week's class. and going into packing. Packing is packing. I personally like packing. Every time I do it, I feel like I get closer to myself. I get closer to my calm. So I'm looking forward to next week class, and thanks, instructor.
Absolutely, I appreciate you. Salama.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Absolutely. What do you have for us this week?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
First of all, I want to say I'm happy that I was able to stay on for most of the call. I had to get off for a second to get my my son on. I believe he is still there. Khalil, are you still there? Mr. Tellini? I think he is. Yes, he is. I see him. All right. And I'm happy he's on. This is just another amazing call, another amazing lecture. And I'm looking forward to using that reverse breathing, because I was actually pretty curious about how that actually worked as far as reverse breathing, because how do you breathe in reverse? How do you breathe at the same time that you're breathing in? How do you breathe out? And that was interesting. So I'm looking forward to practicing that.
Okay, perfect. Appreciate you.
Likewise, likewise.
Rada, you able to talk?
She put in the chat, instructor, that she was going to be on mute again.
Okay. Paul.
Peace, instructor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for another dope breakdown. It's Instructor Key say there's levels to this, right? And so, we've been working on breathing since I don't know, maybe the second month with Master Jawad.
Right.
And this is just more layers of the onion peeled back. And it's dope because these extra challenges, the physical challenges to get used to the what we would consider discomfort, but just the fact that we're not used to doing it this way. Like, I'm really excited about it for reasons that you've been seeing personally for me and some of my challenges with my breathing and mastering it. So I'm very eager to get to it. I'm ready to crack this code so that I can level up.
All right.
I'm very grateful for this instruction, and I'm ready to commit 100% to mastering it.
Okay.
I have to say ditto that to what Paul just said about taking this and using this in the practice. And I have felt it as well in the practice, using it with the kick.
Okay. We got Aaron next.
Peace, everyone. Thank you, instructor. It was a great class. A lot of information. I was writing down and I was getting calls coming in, so I wrote down what I could. But a lot of information, good information on the breathing. And I just want to say that I've been doing the reverse breathing. I like the reverse breathing. Today when I did it, I actually felt a little nauseous and felt a little headache coming on. So I was like, okay. So I went on and switched it on up to the regular way. So, but that's what happened. So, but when I'm in the dojo space, it's different. And so it feels like I'm able to do it correctly. I don't know what's the difference. I'm just watching everybody else, I guess. But yeah, so I'm just gonna keep working on that. And yeah, this is a lot of information as far as the cranial goals and the packing. So I'm learning. So I appreciate you teaching this class.
All right, I appreciate you as well. And I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. And I'm going to say good night to everyone. Peace.
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 We got next, Freedom.
Peace, family.
Peace.
Man, instructor, I came in a little late, man. I just got kind of finished with a job, man. But I was just gonna say, man, I always be, I don't want to say astonished, but just kind of in awe to just the level that things can be taken and just drawn up. I always kind of thought highly and always was very impressed with the breathing techniques because it just helped me with. I find myself doing it with a lot of things in life, from running to just working out, to just in general. So it's always dope, but it was really dope to see that be elevated in different fashions and different directions. So it was a lot of takeaways. I got some good notes, and I appreciate it. Thank you, instructor.
All right, you're welcome, brother. Appreciate you being here. B. Anthony.
Peace, instructor. Peace, family. Yeah, ditto. Piggybacking off everything that's already been said. I was really, I just want to applaud and acknowledge you for just the way that you bring your wealth of knowledge to the forefront, and it's just very. I'm always looking at instructional cues, and I feel like you move the conversation very, very well, make sure we're all in the conversation on the same page before we move forward. So taking cues from that. And then there was some real jewels dropped by Instructor Vaughn about just exploding that whole, of course, the reverse breathing part, but the exploding that whole immortal fetus, and just like, what happens this life and beyond, and applying that directly to breathing and energy. So that was a major revelation. So I'm grateful for the Kempo family, and just excited to, have these things. I know we're going to be practicing these things more so, more and more in the dojo, so they can continue to live within us and not just in our conversation. So excited.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, appreciate you, B. Lyndon. So Lyndon doesn't have anything. Topher.
Peace, instructor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for presenting this class to us. Thank you for the research that you've done. I appreciate you sharing this with us. This has been a very good class. I like this, the reverse breathing, the packing breathing, that's all new. I'm glad like the questions that everyone asked and like the answers I was given, those are helpful. Like the not creating tension by squeezing our perineum too hard. And so when we were doing the reverse breathing, I was making sure I applied the same concept with when I was squeezing my abdomen. And so I wasn't, doing too much. And I felt real chill afterward. I felt a lot of sensations in my head. I felt like my thoughts were able to process easier, and it was very nice. And I like the concept of I don't know, the idea of like not of using the energy, but not using so much that we're creating the tension. And it was we've done that, in the floor practice, but like bringing that to the breathing, like it was very nice to be in that space. I don't really have any questions. Just one comment. When I work on my diaphragm breathing, I would often do it while I'm at work, but whenever I, become aware of my breath, I just focus just on the diaphragm sometimes, not so much the squeezing and the diaphragm, but just so I can at least, get used to moving that diaphragm, because I notice sometimes when I'm doing the breathing, I'm expanding my diaphragm, I'm squeezing, and I'm doing a million things at the same time. Like if I'm driving, I want to pay attention. So sometimes I just let my diaphragm expand without the squeezing, and that helps me to, you know, it really helped out when we did the packing, because I was able to, I feel like I was able to like, benefit from that experience.
Okay.
And it helped, you know, working with that diaphragm in that space. But
Perfect.
yes, overall, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
And thank you, class. Thank you all for your questions and comments.
Kimmy.
Peace. Whew, today was a lot. It was a lot to take in. My notes are like beyond anything I've ever taken before. It's like crazy. Um, it sheds a lot of light. Well, for me, the Tuesday classes now is like so intense because it just draws so much attention to how the body works. So like we're taught like, you know, breathe this way, this is the proper way of breathing. But then in the Tuesday classes, we can actually see and become more in tune as to why we should do certain things, or why it's the proper way, or how we've been taught the wrong way, or been breathing the wrong way, and how the body works. Like how, I mean, today it just brought to light for me with the breathing that when we are tired and fatigued, our heart starts racing, and how we have to tap into that abdominal breathing, and how much it's in tune with the heart. So the breathing and the heart goes together and works together, and then bringing up that it creates the second heart. It's like, wow, that's why it's so easy for us to get our heart rate down once we tap into that abdominal breathing, because it creates a second heart for us. So honestly, these classes are mind blowing, and I'm just in awe of how educated and fascinating each instructor is. It's just mind blowing. I'm just beyond grateful that I have all of the instructors to lead me. Is, oh man, I'm at a loss for words, honestly. So thank y'all for real. This is amazing.
Thank you, Kimmy. We appreciate you. Kimmy.
Hey, I knew you was gonna say me next.
Okay.
You like, oh, do Kimmy, then do Kimmy.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling up at the house, so I'm gonna be short. I appreciated chiming in when I did. Just overall grateful. It is a great advantage when you got a lot of other people in the class with similar minds. Sometimes you want to ask a question before you get it, somebody else say it, and you know, we all win in receiving the information. I agree with you, Anthony. I like your difference in how you set up your flow of how you deliver your information, and your mannerisms, and how, you know, mindful you are of us receiving it. Just overall grateful. I feel like last night I was on the phone talking about breathing, and this night I'm on the phone talking about breathing, and I'm just looking forward to making this more of a normal conversation. Like I'm filling my mind up with is so many different type of ways to breathe and train your breath, and I just want to get well versed at it. I just thought of the title when you're like a breathitarian or something, where you just live on your breath. Not that I would, you know, just being really immense in that art and that flow, and being more comfortable, you know. So I too deal with the, you know, it's new. I'm doing a whole bunch of other things while I'm while I'm engaging in breathing to make it more normal. That's what I want to see more. Just sitting still, doing it and seeing the fruit of it just being more normal in my life for me to be in any and every moment in my day and be doing some sort of breathing exercises and getting more into calmity. I feel like that'd be a big thing when I deal with my breathing. I feel like I just don't be relaxed enough, or just something that's just always tense, and just how to, not be so pressed, like, oh, I gotta breathe, because I know that's just what I gotta do. But just like, no, like, make your breath easy and chill and calm, and it will pull more of those gentle but still deeply fulfilling breaths without the baggage of the tension or the load, or oh, it's too hard, or oh, it's too much. Even though I be feeling like that sometimes, but it is what it is, one day at a time. Thank you.
Right, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Kenyatta.
Peace, family. Wow, how am I supposed to follow up after that? It's very inspiring, man. Instructor, man, you really came through, man. And you just keep taking us higher, and I'm like, all this talk about orbits and reaching these other planes, of our existence through breathing and proper breathing, and just reaching deeper levels within ourselves. It's just amazing, man. It just further confirms that we underutilize ourselves as divine expressions, of the Creator, and just helping us develop into these other aspects of ourselves. It's just a powerful thing. I mean, of course, on the floor, in terms of us really practicing reaching higher levels within ourselves. And, even when the physical get fatigued, how there's still so much more there. If we can just leave this flesh, if you would, so much more there, we can just free ourselves from it. And during these classes and where you're taking us, I'm just as always, I'm just really inspired, just taking me back to floor practice. Even as I share this, man, sometimes, man, I wish I can reverse breathe when I'm when I'm fatigued on the floor, so it's definitely something to aspire toward. And I'm also looking forward to really playing with this in a virtual dojo in terms of stress management, energy management, moving with intention, managing yourself so that you're not losing yourself as you're navigating the world, causing in the world the effects that you're out to make happen. So all of this is just it's just beautiful, man. It's this feeding me like gospel, man. This is like Kempo gospel. This is like Kempo gospel, man. So I just appreciate you, man, for pushing me to go forward, man, and reaching those extra levels of my higher self, man, and all of our collective higher self, man. And so, man, I just appreciate you, man, and love you for it, man. So appreciate you. Thank you,
brother.
So,
Okay, who is next? Khalil, first timer. Can you speak? Or did he, oh, I think he might have tried. Oh no, there he goes. He's still on here.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm very tired right now, and I might have fallen asleep for a little bit of that. It was very relaxing listening to everybody talk about breathing. Seriously, it was.
I think
might
I'm
have
bored.
dozed off a bit.
I think I got him bored. I bored him.
Nah, you didn't bore me. It was just really relaxing. I'm very tired right now.
Okay. Appreciate you
Sorry
being
about
on.
that. Of course.
Yep. Hopefully we'll get you on for the next one as well.
For sure.
Adrian.
Hello there. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Tonight's class, the lesson was absolutely amazing. As I was doing the breathing exercises, I definitely felt my spine lengthen. I felt some gas moving around and out in there, and I got some popping going on through the spine as well with the breathing. So it was beneficial for me. And some of the notes that I took, just remembering some of the practice that I have been away from, has helped me. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom tonight. I got a lot out of it.
All right. Appreciate you being on the call. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Hero.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you very much for the class. My sentiments are pretty much the same as, my peers tonight. The class was amazing and there was so much information shared. I just thank you for putting it together. I don't really have anything else. I have a lot of cool notes that I'm going to be going over as I continue with the meditations and the breathing. I do want to say thank you in particular for, I've heard of the reverse breathing for a long time, and I thought it was going to be really hard to do. And when a musician friend of mine attempted to teach it to me, it was almost impossible. So the way you taught it, and I was able to pick it up fairly quickly. Maybe it has to do with all of the meditative breathing and stuff that we've been doing already. But I mean, I was really amazed by that. So thank you. I'm definitely going to be putting that into practice, and it is a whole different feeling. Like it does, you can feel the energy going a different way, and I was feeling it in different places. So I'm really excited about adding that to the repertoire, and then what it's going to look like to pack that energy in. That's what I'm fairly excited to see too. Like, how's that going to look? So thank you. I'm very excited about all of this.
All right, appreciate you. JVI.
Peace, instructor. I don't have much for today. I just appreciate the lesson and look forward into growing into this new way of breathing. Okay. I'm gonna let that sit and marinate for some time.
Yeah, no worries. We adding on. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Teresa.
Okay, I'm here. I was on my way. Very, 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 very informative. I got a lot of empty spaces filled from, it's like I read it, but now I got the actual doing of it was added to it, and so that put it together better for me, which I appreciate you going through it with the class, with us having us do it. And I can't wait to do it in the morning. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Teresa. Good stuff. Who do we have next? Marquise.
Today's class, very insightful. I had a question for the breathing for the
Okay.
All right, because I'm still trying to master, the regular breathing. Although it became easier for me, it's still I feel like I haven't perfected, just being honest. And for the inverse breathing, when I was doing it, I want to know if we lift our arms up, would that be easier for us to start off for right now?
Check it out and see. I'm not sure. I haven't done that. You talking about for the reverse breathing?
Yes.
I'm not sure, because what my logic tells me, when I raise my arms, it just opens my lungs up a little more. So experiment with it. That's my suggestion. Experiment, find out what works, and if that's a good jump off for you, hey, by all means, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, today's lesson was very useful. I'm thankful for the different breathings. I can't wait to experiment on it. And I'm really excited because the anatomy that we going over, the different body parts. Like I said last week, this is all kind of new to me. So,
okay.
And it's crazy. My mom, she's in the medical field, but I just always stayed away from the medical field. I'm thankful for it.
Okay, no, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. Infinite.
Beautiful class, instructor. I did the reverse breathing and the packing, and I must tell you, it's very challenging. It's still dealing with like a slight headache in my sinus area, like right here in my third eye. I'm still dealing with a little pressure there, and just to be able to pull up on my perineal gland as I relax my diaphragm is going to be challenge I'm looking forward to doing, but it's challenging nevertheless.
Again, it's just a practice, brother. So yeah,
Right.
keep working with it.
And I want to also say Brad Hampton said something earlier about, he said when he playing in that area. I'm trying to figure out why he playing in that area. I kept that to the end. He's instructed when I'm playing in that area, you got any kind of advice for me? I'm like, no, we ain't got no advice for you, brother.
Brother,
I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
I thought you was gonna offer to help him out, bro.
I ain't got no advice for that, Paul.
I hope not.
Oh, y'all silly. This is being recorded too.
I'm sorry. My bad. I'm sorry. My bad. Edit that. Can you edit that? My bad. I'm sorry. Right speech. Right speech. My bad.
With that being said, Brad Hampton, you up next.
And I believe you. No, but
right speech though.
Beautiful class. I said it every week, saying it again tonight. I thought the last class would top. It wouldn't get no better, and then it gets topped again. So I just really appreciate the beauty of having a teacher. And Instructor Keith spoke about this in one of our physical space classes, but this is really coming home hearing you talk about it. I would be lying if I said reading this book, everything is coming to me. Like the diagrams that you're showing, many of them, they came up in like where I'm at in the book, and it's like, I just don't know what I'm looking at. But hearing you speak about it, and now we in the class, people asking questions and such, it is an explosion of information. And I'm extremely grateful for it. Thank you. And I don't know what else to say that hasn't been said, but beautiful class. But I really appreciate the exercise you actually asking us to breathe and stuff. So that was very good too. And Infinite, you are wrong for what you just did. So with that said, good night, y'all.
All right. No, we appreciate you. And absolutely, this is a roughly a little less than 300-page book. we are only through page 65. All this information the last 2 weeks is through page 65. So yeah, we're only one more day, but yeah, it's a lot of information packed in there. So next up, we got Chanel. Where you at, Chanel?
You real funny.
You are funny.
So what resonated, there was quite a few things that resonated with me. The first one being belly breathing, being related to something called heart activation breathing that we utilize in EFT and TFT, which is emotional freedom technique and thought field therapy fields. And we use it pretty much telling people to imagine there's like a straw connecting their heart to their belly, to the bottom of their belly, and to breathe all the way through. And we teach people that to take them out of fight, flight, or freeze, and to stop those hormones and to ease anxiety, which in our terms, right, going to instructor North Legs lessons, is to take people out of gamma and to shift their brain waves down. So when you align your breathing with your heart rate, then you automatically shift yourself out of, the gamma and beta fields into more healthy fields, into fields that also stop a lot of those stress hormones from coming out. So I thought that that was really cool. Another thing that happened for me was when I was packing, I noticed that my back pain eased up, as well as my tummy cramps eased up. So that was really cool to feel that much chi there. Whenever I did packing before, I did it from belly breathing. I hadn't done it from reverse breathing. And the difference was definitely noticeable. And I also noticed a difference between pressure and tension. So that was really cool. And then last week you mentioned that that stops chi from being able to be moved as much. And I can see and feel that, which is kind of like spirit kicking my behind, like, yeah. So being in physical, just going back to, our physical bodies being used in order for spiritual purposes and spiritual gain and spiritual growth. I am also excited to learn more about how packing can be used to move DMT. I really enjoyed the class.
Awesome. Okay, next up, is LaKenya still on there? Let me see.
No, she said yeah, she said she had the depth.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, Akuseya, what you got, brother, instructor?
Peace. This might be ego driven, but our clan is sweet. I just gotta say it, Mighty Instructor Cedric, aka Captain Level Up. Man, you outdid yourself, brother. It's just always so gratifying, brother, after almost 20 years, to really be a part of changing the planet, man. And it is it's truly awesome to put practical application to concepts that are so profound, and to it's just the ultimate class, in higher education. So many people get higher education, but they don't have practical application. So they can spout off and pontificate and, talk real deep from a theory perspective, but then you drop them in the water and they can't swim. And to have the generous discipline to allow us to express and explore and practice, and then come to lecture series such as this to put handles on these concepts, to take it back to the dojo space, to physically play, develop in it, and then operate it in the virtual dojo. It's just really profound, man. So it's just truly a blessing to be a part of it. You are doing an excellent job, brother, with the lecture. And I'm just very appreciative and looking forward to bringing these exercises to my daily regimen, effective tomorrow morning, in conjunction with the meditation club I will be working in this breath. And from, prior experience, and even just the little limited three breath cycle that I indulged in today, I already know just how, I don't want to say fatiguing in a negative way, but I know how taxing this is going to be. And it's going to be a beautiful thing to be able to watch and feel the progress over the coming days and weeks. Three breaths was the challenge. To move it up to 6 and 9 and keep climbing. It's just exciting, man. And I just know that we are truly developing in power. And one other piece, akin to what you brought up and what Dr. Vaughn exploded, and even what Chanel just said, was another fresh reminder of how the flesh is to be taxed in order to bring about spiritual elevation. And I believe it was Kenyatta that said this is like gospel. It's so much better than gospel. No offense to any particular religious beliefs, but we are in fact doing the work that I dare say, I know God and the creator and the ancestors are very proud of what we're doing, especially as a collective. So we are absolutely, and Brother Kenyatta, your language is always impressive, man. But when you look at all the script, I don't care which one you dive into, it's a call for man to be the absolute best man can be, man and woman can be on the planet, because nothing in the universe can do what we can do. And you alluded to earlier in bringing the celestial to the terrestrial and utilizing Mother Earth's energy as that, bio-electromagnetic machine that we are. Nothing else can do it. And so we are actually doing it. And the time in which we're doing it could not be more poignant. So I won't go on and on, but I just know how significant we are, brother. And this lesson is hugely important as we go forward in time. So thank you, brother. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for leveling me up, leveling us up as usual.
Appreciate you, brother. Love you too. Mr. Jenkins, what you have?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Instructor. Hey, man. I mean, this is just amazing job, phenomenal breakdown. But you already know, bro. It's just what you do. So I'm not even surprised, brother. But yeah, thank you so much. I also would like to give credit to the students. As students, and I'm including myself, it's the level of questions that that give you that nudge to unfold the concepts even more. So, as far as grasping concepts and the levels of understanding, they don't come about until we as students ask those questions. And I just want to give credit to the students and everyone for being attentive and really wanting to absorb and learn. So it's all about the breath. The breath is key, and we can never talk about the mechanics of breathing enough. So you're just really laying and priming the foundation and bringing it full circle as it relates to power, combat, and meditation. And I'm pretty sure that's where we're going with it. So thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you.
Oh, man, I appreciate it as well.
Yes, sir.
It's commentary, yeah. Okay, Instructor North.
Peace, everybody. Definitely, yet again, phenomenal class. It was amazing from beginning to end. I feel like when the students, they refuse to bow at the end of class because they don't want it to be over. That's what it feels like right now. But no, man, what it really just reminds me of, it just seems like, you know, we are in Professor Xavier's, you know, school for the gifted.
Right.
Like, you know, it's the X-men and X-women. You know, we just are changing what it means to be a human being on this planet. And, you know, to be at the forefront of that and to, you know, play a pivotal role in that is our charge and our mission and our duty. And, you know, we are definitely fulfilling on that. You know, this class is definitely no exception. You know, it's just adding layers and levels, and it really brings a true change and a new understanding to the, you know, I'm gonna call it mantra, but the mantra "Know Thyself" is just another layer every week that's being added to, you know, the layers that we are and the layers that constitute us as, you know, quote unquote human beings on planet Earth. So, man, just another, you know, mic drop session.
Yes.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for, you know, all the research and dedication that I know that it takes to, you know, put forth this information in a palatable and entertaining, you know, package. So thank you again. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Okay. Dr. Vaughn, close us out, brother.
Man, goodness. I don't know where to start, Sid, but I gotta say this, brother, you actually started this class Saturday.
Oh.
When you put the beat on, brother.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
You put the beat on about it starts in the breath.
Yeah.
Right? And we was all, you know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, and to follow up from the introduction of the rap, the music, and then drop the science behind it, brother, man, I'm just humbled. You know, and two, you are providing an amazing example for the instructors that are coming up behind us in that class. I mean, man, this is a tough ass act to follow. You know what I'm saying? So in the instructional class, and then you model, and each of you have modeled. This is what a for real instructor should look like, sound like, be like, you know. So I had to say that because I noted it like Saturday with the music, and then the follow up here is just amazing. Also, if we would note that we started at 8 and there was just 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, just talking about breathing. Just talking about breathing. And as instructor said, man, we're not even halfway through the book. You know what I'm saying? And we just talking about breathing. To let you know how important it is, and also having the insight and the foresight of review and going back over it and then getting a deeper dive in it. because to be quite honest, if you haven't read this or you're not familiar with it, the first time you heard it, it was a blur. You know, it was just like, what do you say? You know, and so the brother had the insight and the foresight to come back and say, you know what? We're going to take a deep dive and then I'm going to add some more stuff. That's where the level of questioning came from, because you heard it again for the first time, which is invaluable, you know? So that's why the level of questioning came up, and then right behind that, the actual practice of it. It wasn't a sit and get. It was like, okay, we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to give you some time to practice it. Okay, talk to me about it. I mean, right after the knowledge was dropped, then a follow-up with, okay, you got your nose. Everybody on here got a nose, I hope. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you take some air in that schnauzer. You know what I'm saying? Take some air in that bad boy and fill that belly up and let's get it, right? So, I mean, it was just so many things dropped, and how, you know, it's feeding everybody. Because again, just as in the last class, you turning on lights in me. Like, I'm like, man, you know, just drawing so much from it because it's so rich. And that's when you know you got something good going on, because it's so rich. And you can literally, instructor, you can spend another couple of weeks on this and come up with something new. You know what I'm saying? It's just so rich, brother. Phenomenal class. Just like I said, man, the class started actually Saturday. You know what I'm saying? This class started Saturday while y'all playing. While y'all playing, y'all was rocking with me. You know what I'm saying? And dropping it, and my man was like, it's, you know, the power's in the breath, and then you follow up and show how truly the power is in the breath, dropping the science behind the music. Man, what? Man, you can't hold nothing up against this, man. You can't, man. I'm glad I crossed over with you, brother. Proud to have you, man.
Brother. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. And thank you, students, for making us level up. Because if it weren't for you guys, I mean, hey, you know, Sid wouldn't have showed out. Instructor Sid had to show out. So,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he showed his ass today.
Cut a rug.
You know, so thank you, brother. Thank you, students, and I'm very appreciative.
Oh, definitely appreciate you, brother. And to your point, it's so much information that I'm just like going through this stuff to put it together. I'm like nerding out on the information, and it's so much that I just can't talk about, because it's just gonna take us, it'll be a month-long sessions. So I gotta just eliminate a lot of information, because it's so much. It's so much, but hey, it's plenty of time. And I just have to close it out by saying, with your commentary about the mortal fetus, and the umbilical that a mortal fetus is connected to, is essentially aborting us if we're not pulling from a healthy mother. So it's just such a powerful visual, and it speaks to our responsibility to take care of the mother.
Oh yeah.
So that's one aspect of what we're doing here. We got to heal the planet.
Yes,
We
sir.
have to, so we can level up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Man,
it
I'm
just,
telling
yeah,
you, man.
it's a responsibility. We absolutely have a responsibility to do it so we can continue our growth, or we will be aborted and like Instructor Vaughn said, go back through the same thing. We failed the grade. We got to do the grade over.
Gotta do it
We
all
got to
over again.
redo kindergarten. Go to first grade yet.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I appreciate everybody who joined the call, who contributed just by being here. So yep. So let's sign off. It's 10:30. We can close out and get some rest, everybody. Get some rest, family.
All right. Thank you, brother, again, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, instructor. Peace, family.
Peace.
fam.
Peace. Good night. Thank you, instructor.
Love you all.
Peace, instructor.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace, fam. Good night.